Dan has just a special talent to really feel that race car and be incredibly fast of driving off the right rear. There's a lot of guys that always have to have the front of that car leading, but he has the ability to really drive off that right rear. And it can be fast, it can bite you, but you can be fast. And the National Guard car, he's looking solid.
He is. He won in 2005 and 2006 here at Chicagoland Speedway.
Talking with his engineer, David Cripps, one thing he said is, you know, yeah, you want to be flat around this racetrack all day long to keep the momentum. But as you keep putting laps on these tires, his engineer thought that it's going to be tough. It's not a no-brainer to run flat out around this racetrack all day through that 50-lap stint. So that'll be something we'll have to watch.
It's Ryan Briscoe leading the Peak Antifreeze and Motor Oil Indy 300, and Marco Andretti running second. Back at Chicagoland Speedway, and it is still Ryan Briscoe showing the way, but Marco Andretti is a close second. Then Weldon, Carpenter, Castro Neves, EJ Viso is running sixth. Franchitti, Power, Ray Hall, and Dixon complete the top 10. Alex Lloyd, who was involved in that accident early on, has moved up after a pit stop to 13th position. So Alex is doing very well. Danica Patrick runs 14th. That is Ed Carpenter to the right of Dan Weldon, and now Weldon comes up to challenge Marco for second.
Oh, that's a tight squeeze. Woo. Oh, wow. And Marco's trying to hit pit lane was what was happening there.
Wow. Man. Dan, I'm coming in. I want in. I want in.
Already more than a fourth of this race has been completed.
And that surprises me because Marco Andretti obviously ran a lot of time behind Ryan Briscoe. You would have thought he'd get a little better fuel economy. Not good if you come in early when you're following, and Rahall's there too. Lindy?
And Graham Rahal in, he said the rear of the car has not been too good, but he's been using his tools on the inside. He said it feels a lot better now. He says the O2 car feels really good up high on the track. Robbie?
Number 26, no adjust for him, just a tire change at full fuel. This is a car he said has the best chance of winning for 2010. He likes his car better than anything he's driven so far this year.
Ryan Briscoe, the leader, has also come in for a pit stop.
And the two teammates, Weldon and Carpenter, still out there. Did not have to stop, as well as Castro Neves and Franchitti.
And a huge challenge at this racetrack, when you come into pit road under green conditions, like you come off of turn 3 and you get down to the flat and it's almost off camber, but you need to challenge that flat, and it's really hard. I mean, if you give up a second there, we know what that can cost you on the racetrack.
Now several others make their first pit stop of the evening. Dan Weldon's crew goes to work on the National Guard car.
They go with sticker tires.
The left rear was getting hung up back there on the National Guard car.
Little problem, Robbie.
Landers 11, it looked like everything was all right for Tony Kanaan. We talk about how he had more downforce, able to maneuver the car. He said, you know, when you're young like Marco, you can do that, but I can't.
And for Castro Neves, they had to get out the quick lift. They could not get the fuel hose connected, it appeared. They had to go to the quick lift. And Carpenter went longer than anyone. Now he hits pit road.
And that's that area I was talking about. You come into that flat. Look at how Will Power just ate up Ed Carpenter as they coming down that pit end flat between 3 and 4.
Ryan Hunter-Ray moves back out onto the racetrack. Green flag pit stops taking place. Ed Carpenter's crew. And here comes Will Power. Down to the attention of the Verizon Team Penske crew.
Of course, Jackaroo told us how important fueling is, and that made the huge difference for his teammate, Castro Neves. Nice and smooth for Will Power.
8.8 seconds, and Will Power is back on the racetrack as Alex Lloyd now has taken over the lead. Remember, he did pit. Alex Tagliani gets credit for leading a lap. Briscoe, Andretti, Carpenter, Tagliani, and Lloyd have all led here during this sequence of pit stops.
There were quite a few people that ducked in on lap number 9, and one of those was Tagliani and Lloyd, yes.
Yeah. So there is Alex Lloyd as Justin Wilson comes in for his first scheduled pit stop.
Another one who pitted on lap 9, so we have a couple different sequences. of those who pitted early.
Davey Hamilton has moved to second position. Here comes Sarah Fisher down pit lane. She is getting back into the race. Sarah will also be at Kentucky Speedway next Saturday night here on Versus. And now Lloyd drops down to the apron of the track, and he will relinquish the lead. Simona Di Silvestro in for a stop, and now Davey Hamilton also will enter pit lane.
60 mile an hour right there at those yellow Sunoco cones.
And he has the very first pit, and that oftentimes when you're coming off that warm-up lane, that can be a tricky spot to get into.
Yeah, because he has to go slower than that 60 mile an hour point before you get to it so he can get in his box and stop. Hometown crowd here for Dale Coyne.
Now Vitor Mira led briefly because he last pitted on lap 13. So this is all kind of cycling through depending on when you stop
why
early.
Vitor got out of sequence is he was also involved in that incident earlier. We didn't really see where it was, but he banged up his left front wing. They came in and replaced that nose.
Well, when all these pit stops are completed, Ryan Briscoe should be back at the top of the field with Andretti, Franchitti, Dixon, and Kanaan running behind him. It's still a very close battle out there on the racetrack as Marco Andretti has found Briscoe once again as they run first and second. Well, the pit stops are completed, and now we concentrate on more racing. But first, we'll take a break from Chicagoland Speedway.
Be up front, or can you win from anywhere in this 29-car field? Ryan Briscoe and Dario Franchitti will lead the field to the green flag.
Here we go at Chicagoland.
Two cars together.
Oh, we got a problem. Green flag racing right now as Ryan Briscoe and Marco Andretti are running first and second. Dario Franchitti is third, and Alex Lloyd, who led for a time before he came in for his second pit stop, is now going to have to enter pit lane once again. These guys with about a 1 second advantage on the third place car of Dario Franchitti, then Dixon, Kanaan, Power, Hunter Ray, Carpenter, Ray Hall, and Viso. The big loser during that sequence of pit stops was Dan Weldon, who was 14th, and he's moved up now to 12th as once again Marco challenges Ryan.
And Bob, we were watching that interval that you said was a second to Dario Franchitti. Not long ago, that was a second and a half. So the cars behind these two are closing in fast.
Well, when you see Marco behind Briscoe there, you see him he's darting around. And what he's doing is, as he sneaks in right behind Briscoe, right there, so he's getting drafted and pulled along, and then he pops up. He knows he's maybe not going to make the pass, but he's going to keep his momentum going and not breathe off the gas. And then, obviously, as he hits that wall of air, he's going to slow down a little bit, and then he'll duck right back behind him right there, slipstream a little bit more, and then just keep popping out. So that's what all the darting is going on, so he can keep his momentum and stay in that draft.
Well, to talk about that, though, Robbie, why does he not just run right on Briscoe's gearbox? They would run faster collectively together. He would save fuel. He has to make up a lap because he pitted 1 lap earlier than Briscoe. I would ride right on his gearbox and try and work together, get clear, and then worry about Briscoe.
Yeah, so what you're saying is stay right on his gearbox and just feather back on your throttle a little bit, save fuel, versus keeping that momentum and always popping up to the high side and not breathing out of the throttle.
Well, we'll see which technique he adopts.
Well, look at there you talk. Dario's what, 2 car lengths back, followed by Dixon.
We have had 7 leaders and 12 lead changes in the first 73 laps of this race.
I think the answer to the question is that Marco Andretti knows if he can find any way to get past Briscoe, that is his shot. And somehow, because Briscoe is so fast and solid when he's leading on the bottom of the racetrack, I bet he thinks his only defense is, I've got to figure out a way to get by him, get ahead, and let him run in dirty air.
And that sets up what Jack said is, you're setting up everything for that last stop. And what you want to do is you go into that last stint of this race. You want to know where you are strong relative to your competitors. And that's maybe what he's sizing up. Jack, you got more?
Well, I want to take you back to that first set of green flag pit stops. You see Elio Castroneves running out there right now, but I want to go back to some of the mistakes or some of the things that you have to do when you're using a night race. This is Sean Hanran, and look at his left arm. You see the light there? The idea is to try and give Castroneves a place where he can do it. You notice Hanran was